This is LaserBolt, and welcome to another episode of Before You Play. Today we'll be taking a look at the Ascent and giving you every detail you need to know before the game launches. So not only can you be ready for when the game comes out, but you could also have all the information you need to know to make a decision if you actually should hop on board and test the game out. So let's dive in and take a look at the Ascent. So what exactly is the Ascent? The Ascent has gameplay very similar to Diablo, but in addition to that, it fuses in a cyberpunk element to give you that kind of worldy environment. One of the neat features about this particular game is that it will be coming on Xbox Game Pass and also PC Game Pass. So if you guys own the Game Pass, whether it be on PC or you own the Game Pass on Xbox, you'll be able to play this game and try it out without having to purchase the game. And the neatest thing about this is that you'll be able to access this on day one of the launch. So when exactly does the game launch? The game launches July the 29th, almost to the end of this month. And I am extremely excited. So now to answer a couple questions you guys might be having. Laser, is this game for solo play or is it multiplayer? This game is actually a multiplayer game, but you will be able to play it solo. If you want to hop in here and play with your friends, you're going to be able to play it to up to 4 players. In addition to that, you'll be able to play the game either offline mode. So if you want to chill at home and play with your friend without being connected to the internet, you will be able to do that. But if you want to hop on and play some multiplayer with a couple of Bolt Nation members, you're more than welcome to hop on and join as well. So whether you're solo or whether you have a team, you will be able to play the game whichever way you choose. Now, at the start of the game, you'll be given an option to customize your character. One of the cool things about this particular game is that there are no set classes for the game in general. You will start off with a clean slate, not only with your character customization, but also with your classes. Now, you're going to be able to decide what type of class you want to play with or what type of playstyle you're going to be able to do that because the game has an extensive array of customization that will fit any playstyle. You're just going to have to decide which one you want to go, whether you want to be a tank, you want to be a melee, you want to be someone that uses a lot of abilities. There are endless possibilities of the way to actually play the game. So primarily it's going to be focusing on you deciding what type of playstyle you want to play the game because the game will give you a clean slate to start off with. Now, I know one question that gets asked a lot is how long will the game last? How long are the missions? How long is the campaign? The developer said that if you play the game, just play it, outright, just do the story missions. Don't do any side quests. Don't do any treasure hunting. It's going to take you roughly between 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how fast you're actually able to complete certain missions. If you're not dying that much, so you can expect a 15-hour playthrough. Now, you're probably wondering, Laser, will the game have replayability? Because after I'm done with the 15 hours, what exactly am I able to do within the game? Well, they did say that there are a lot of treasures that are happening within the game. So if you want to find special hidden loot or you want to find, items that you might not be able to obtain just by playing the mission or buying it from a vendor, then you're going to have to do those side missions, so that extensive replayability can last a little bit longer. And putting a perfect build together will also benefit if you plan on playing with friends, because some friends just need to be carried. Now let's talk about one of the most important thing, and that is the loot. Yes, everybody wants to know what's going on with the loot. So the loot is extremely important in this game because there are a ton of loot. Like always, like almost every loot and shooter, there is a bunch of rarities. You have your blues, your purples, your greens, your gold, your legendaries. So you have all that rarity loot. Now, one cool thing about this game is that each individual weapon and each individual grenade or each individual armor piece will have its own rarity. Now, you'll be able to equip 2 weapons, and you'll also be able to equip 3 different sets of your armor. So one's going to be for your head, the other one's going to be your torso and your legs, and you also have those 2 additional weapon slots. In addition to that, guys, you're going to be able to change different skill variants and different abilities, which we'll dive in a little bit later on throughout the video. Now, apart from the loot having different rarities, you're also going to be able to craft this loot. And this is where components are going to be playing a huge viable role because these are going to be able to allow you to augment weapons, augment gear. Now, when you augment this weapon and augment this gear, some of these pieces and some of these rarities of loot that's dropping will drop with resistant protection from fire, electrical, and other few elements that are available in the game. So there is a huge incentive to not only be able to craft weapons, but also find all the loot rarities for a specific weapon, or armor, depending on your playstyle or depending on the environment you choose to engage in. Now let's talk a little bit about the skills that you'll be able to have in the Ascent. So there are a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different skills that you're able to have with the Ascent. And these are tactical sense, critical hit rate, weapon handling, aiming, balance, evasion, and vital signs, and body battery. Now let's go ahead and dive in and take out each one exclusively to find out exactly what each one does. Now remember, guys, every time you level up, you'll be getting a point for each individual option, and you're able to hit up to 20 levels. Now let's take a look at tactical sense. Basically, tactical sense determines the amount of tactical charge gained for the damage inflicted. Critical hit rate pretty much is self-explanatory. It determines the critical hit rate, of course, how much crit chance you actually get and how much damage you do with that crit shot. Weapon handling determines the reload of the weapon and weapon swap speed. So if you want to reload your weapon faster and swap weapons a lot quicker, you'll be able to do that as well. Aiming pretty much determines your weapon spread and recovery rate. So how much the weapon is kicking, whereas if it's moving to the left, to the right, this is the one you're going to be adjusting. Depending what type of weapon you decide to go with, you're going to want to adjust this accordingly with the skill points you obtain. Now, balance is pretty interesting because this one determines the resistance to stun, knockbacks, and staggers, and the movement penalty for moving while firing a heavy weapon. So if you plan on going with like an LMG or a very heavy weapon, this is one that you definitely want to go ahead and adjust just a tad bit if you want to move a little bit quicker. And you want to be avoid getting stunned, knocked back, or staggered while playing the game. Evasion is pretty self-explanatory as well. It determines the evasion cooldown speed, so how fast you're able to move whether you're getting hit or how fast your cooldown of your evasion ability is active. Vital signs pretty much is self-explanatory as well. It just determines the maximum health that you're able to have as a character. So if you want to be a little bit more tanky and have a little bit more health, then definitely investing in vital signs would be a huge advantage. And last but not least, guys, we have body battery. This kind of determines the max energy capacity. Of course, the most energy capacity you have, the faster you're going to be able to use your abilities, and the faster you're going to be able to do anything that has to do with biometrics. So some really crazy stuff. It gives us, as you guys see here in the skills, it gives us a ton of different ways to actually approaching the game, playing it a little bit different, and getting a better idea of what kind of playstyle you want to go with, whether you want to be tanky, you want to spam your abilities, you want to have a heavy weapon where you want to move quickly, you don't want to have much, you have to want to have that precision aiming, then you're going to be able to adjust all of these accordingly. So really, really awesome. And a very clean slate to give us a different playstyle depending on how we want to actually approach and play the game. Now, of course, no loot and shooter RPG would be complete without talking about vendors. And are there going to be any vendors in the game? The answer to that is yes. And this is actually pretty interesting because as you progress throughout the game, there's going to be different areas. So as you guys know, throughout the game, you start as a poor janitor who's pretty much just cleaning and, out of luck. And all of a sudden, this big chaos breaks loose. People start going to the streets, getting crazy. And you go from being a janitor to moving up in the world as you progress through different levels. And throughout this, you're going to have different vendors. So there's going to be vendors who are pretty much in the slums. There's going to be vendors who are on the streets. And then once you get into the more corporal areas, they're going to be more high-tech vendors. And some of these vendors will have really cool stuff. Like, for example, they'll have new weapons. They'll have new skills. They'll give you the chance to change your biology, change your style, and all that good stuff. And also add some augmentations, which will dynamically change the way you actually play the game, which I'm extremely excited for because that is going to give us a huge advantage to particular playstyles. Not only their skills, but also these new augmentations that we're able to do. Apart from that, guys, we do have bounties that we're able to collect, and these bounties will allow us to go collect specific loot. There is a cyberdeck as well, which I'll have a separate video just covering that particular subject in hand. There's also components, which, like I said earlier, you're going to be able to use these through your weapons to modify them and make it better. But one thing that actually kind of stands out that a lot of people haven't really addressed is basically the side missions. The side missions are going to be key because there's going to be specific loot that's going to be dropping from these side missions. And completing the side missions are going to give us some really cool secret hidden loot, which I'm extremely excited for. So guys, July the 27th, it's almost here. I'm excited for this game. Can't wait to actually hop in and test it out. Let me know if you guys are excited. If you have Game Pass, let me know in the comment section down below. Where will you be playing it? Are you going to be playing on PC or will you be playing on Xbox? Please let me know in the comment section down below. If you have any additional questions about the Ascent, also let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.